Yo, Holly Doe, beloveds, what's happening? What's going on? This is Wild Feather Productions presenting Phoenix Moon with the Urban Indian Country News. So I want to talk a little bit about a spicy meatball before it rolls off of the pile of spaghetti. What's happening, cousin Davita? Happy Mother's Day, you beautiful. L. Austin, Lloyd Cardi, what's up, beauties? How y'all beloved ones doing? Shout out to everybody in the chat. Everybody, every day is Mother's Day. What's happening, Marsh? Every day is Mother's Day. We always honor them and miss them, and we thank them for life, above all, right? Shout out to Hyatt. Thank you so much. Hey, Platinum Love, what's up, beloved? How are you? So, got something I want to drop regarding hot off the press. And this is May 1st. This took place. I've constantly told people to monitor what's happening with the Senate. And definitely you want to make sure that you are paying attention to what's going on. So back to the crybabies, all that crying, what the baby's going to do. We have, let me see. Let me see something. Hold on, guys. We have a little bit of a drop that we're going to talk about regarding this. And this is going to be your House Resolution 6666. And this is what they are calling, well, let's just say it. What's in the name, right? It's called the COVID-19 Testing, Reaching, and Contacting Everyone Trace Act. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or if you are familiar, but this is happening. It was just introduced. And who it was introduced by, none other than, of course, the Democrat. But this is out of Illinois, so figure that, right? Where people are resistant. The elders are going to get tested, but for the most part, people, from what I've read out of reports, are resistant to the COVID-19 testing, especially people that are asymptomatic. Generally, it's been so much of the seniors and people with pre-existing health conditions that have gone and get this testing. Not necessarily just, and then some people had to mandatory have the testing for their jobs, their places of employment and whatnot. Now they're also there's gonna be a huge amount of information that's gonna come forward regarding the false positives, right? Some people's asymptomatic and testing positive, for COVID-19. And they really have, like I said, completely asymptomatic for beyond the days of incubation and manifestation to where you become contagious, what have you, or affected by it, right, in a negative way. So let's go to HR. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for you guys. And this is going to be, again, it's House Resolution 6666. And let's get that pulled up so you guys can see. Okay. And this is by Bobby Rush. Okay, he's a representative out of Illinois. So for all of the people that have all of these, gripes, grievances, concerns, and everything, particularly, and let me just stop at Illinois because I want to send some positive energy to our beloved ones out there in Illinois that are dealing with any sort of trauma at this present time. We want to send a lot of love and light to the people of Illinois and Chicago, our peoples out there. So this is the all information. Okay, so look, this is what we're going to talk about, how this bill was introduced. I want to read the text of what it is that they're introducing so that people are aware and they understand. You could guarantee people are going to be biting off of this particular thread as sometime later on. But this is a spicy meatball coming here. And if you haven't done so already, you definitely want to sign up to No Grandma Killers TV here on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the like button, share. Okay, so let's go. We're going to look at, I'm going to pull it up in text so that you are able to see. And we're just going to read the title. Now look, I want you to see, there's two titles here. Let me scroll down a little bit. You have the short titles through the House of Representatives, and the short title is COVID-19 testing, reaching, and contacting everyone. Now look, testing, reaching, and contacting everyone. So that's a trace, right? So this is where you get your Trace Act. So to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities such as contact tracing through mobile health units as necessary at individuals' residences and for other purposes. Okay, so now they are looking to make a law for the mobile units that have already been operating. So this is where you get your de facto versus de jure. So the fact of the matter is that they are actually doing it, right? But the real truth is that it is not even signed into law yet. It's not illegal, right? But it's not lawful. Do you understand? It's unlawful, but not illegal. You guys need to take a minute and check out what I'm talking about. I didn't confuse anything. I meant exactly what I said, and I meant it to sound exactly that way so that it is clear. Okay, so now this is May 1st, 2020, referred to by the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. You will find that a lot that has to do with the American Indian is going to be buried in these different types of agencies that you don't know even exist. This particular committee for the House of Representatives, Energy and Commerce, there's always going to be hidden caveats and spicy meatballs there for the American Indian, right? And it's always going to end up as miscellaneous when you look into specific matters. Certainly when it comes down to Title 25, you'll find a myriad of things pertaining to the American Indian. Okay, so let's go to, I want to scroll up, and I'm going to go to actually read what the introduction. So let's talk about the co-sponsors. Okay, so you have 45 co-sponsors, and these are all of your representatives, your Democratic representatives that are cool with this shit. Okay, so before you even know what it is, let me just show you who's responsible. And these are the people that are probably going to get your vote. Just because you're a Democrat and you think you're doing the right thing. So you have Representative Barron, Nanette Barragan Diaz, Karen Bass, and that's out of California. These are your Democrats out of California. Donald Byer out of Virginia, Anthony Brown out of Maryland. You have Butterfield out of North Carolina. Tony Cardenas out of California. You have Andre Carson out of Indiana. You have Steve Cohen out of Tennessee. Louis Correa out of California. Henry Cellular out of Texas. So you have all of these representatives. These are how you find out who is responsible. So when you get upset and you wonder how these things are enacted, they are enacted by your lack of doing anything. Because you vote for these schmucks right here, you don't know shit about them, and they have a good bit of detail and intel on you, how you think, how you shop, your purchases, all sorts of things, and they have the inside scoop. So those are your people that people say that they've done their share, but have you really done your share, or are you directly contributing to your own oppression? And the answer is pretty much obvious. If you haven't already done anything that I have been already submitted in this presentation, then you may be responsible or a direct contributor of your own oppression. So let's go back to the document. And I'm going to read from it so that everybody's aware. So whether you accept it or reject it, this is what's happening. If you don't do shit, this is where it's going to be. You're going to be all upset, okay? And you can also click on the people and you can see exactly who they are, where their territories are, what districts they work out of, things that are co-sponsored by them, other things that may or may not affect you, hazardous duty pay for frontline federal workers, COVID testing, reaching and contacting everyone. And this is the act right here. And this is on the floor for the 116th Congress, which is happening now, right? So, and then, if you scroll up or down, of course, you'll see all of the things that she has co-sponsored. So now you know who to shoot your arrows at, okay? First of all, you can kind of stop voting them. Perhaps groom your family members, children, neighbors, people in your community that you see something special in. Groom them into politics and, polity and civics, so that we can have a seat here and have someone here representing us at the House Energy and Commerce, right? Ways and Means Committee. We don't have any representatives. We don't have any representatives specifically for the American Indian. Perhaps the Native American does, but the American Indian does not. And let me scroll up to the top of the page. And I want you to see, first of all, I want you to read what the bill is. So I'm going to go back to, let me go back. Okay, now text right here where it says text, right here at the top, that next tab over, we're going to hit text, and then you'll be able to see what is actually introduced right up here at the top. Okay, so this is going to be the text of the bill. Give me 1 second. There you go. Okay, so House Resolution 6666. This is just going to be for the second session of the 116th Congress, to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities, such as contact tracing through mobile health units and, as necessary, at individuals' residences and for other purposes. Now, I mentioned this to you already that this is what it was gearing for. Now, what happens is everybody's had all of this propaganda. They've been inciting all of this, and they speak all of these things into existence. And then, you want to act like that this is some sort of additional pandemonium versus what's already been happening. It's really nothing but the same shit warmed over. So come on, let's keep reading. And then it tells you who these people are. Of course, Mr. Rush, Bobby Rush, for himself, and these are also going to be those co-sponsors. And they introduced the following bill, which was referred to the Committee on Energy and Commerce. So if you have a problem, now you know where to shoot your shot to. Do not direct your grievances to Wild Feathers, to Phoenix Moon. Do not be mad at anybody else. Be mad at yourself for the things that you are neglecting to handle on your own accord, in accordance to self-governing, right? And being righteous and doing what it is that you're supposed to do. You want specific results. There's some things that you got to take care of. These are the things that you need to be on top of and not aloof from. Okay, so let's read, let's go down. Let me see. And I'm going to read the short title. This act may be cited as. So they're going to have nicknames for this act. 30 years from now, they may not say that this is the Trace Act, but we'll know it. It'll go down in history infamously with us as the Trace Act, right? They'll come up with different short titles, but we know goddamn well that this is talking about what it's talking about in the original title. One thing that you need to know about the United States, single subject matter, okay? And this is something that you can guarantee, and this was pointed out when I was talking about the Civil Rights Act. Single subject matter. If you have one title, one subject per title, okay, one subject per act, and that one subject can only consist of something specific. For instance, if you want to save the tigers, okay, you can't include the lions, the tigers, and bears also. This is going to be an act specifically about the tigers. It was introduced about the tigers. It was discussed and agreed upon. It was acted into law. And it's going to start and end with the tigers. You can't mix the tigers and the bears and such because you have to put all of this specific research into study of one thing, and it will take you someone decades or perhaps their whole lifetime trying to get their point across or convey their situation, which they want to have, their grievances. Because if you think about it, this is a grand petition. When these things are enacted, they're a grand petition by a plethora of people that you don't have anything to do with. You don't know who they are, but they are getting their voices heard. Why are you not getting your voice heard? You got to understand that this is why, because these things are being neglected. So now you have, in general, the Secretary of Health and Human Services acting through the Director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention may award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 to trace and monitor the contacts of infected individuals and to support the quarantine of such contacts through mobile health units and, as necessary, testing individuals and providing individuals with services related to testing and quarantine at their residences. Permissible uses of funds. A grant recipient of this section may use the grant funds in support of the activities described in a subsection A to hire, train, compensate, and pay the expenses of individuals, and 2, to purchase personal protective equipment and other supplies. C, priority. Excuse me, let me scroll up. Give me 1 second. C, priority. In selecting the grant recipients under this section, the Secretary shall give priority to 1, applicants proposing to conduct activities funded under this section in the hotspots and medically underserved communities, and applicants that agree in hiring individuals to carry out activities funded under this section to hire residents of the area or community where the activities will primarily occur, with higher priority among applicants described in this paragraph given based on the percentage of individuals to be hired from such area or community. So not only are they going to be knocking on residential doors, now this goes back to the conversation that I told you guys that Grandma had with us when talking about sexual health and hygiene, right? And it boiled down to you don't want your name to be on no ledger, right? What's a ledger? And this ledger was before, back in the days, they would, if people had gonorrhea, chlamydia, tuberculosis, syphilis, whatever it is, you name it, they had specific diseases, not just STDs, STIs, or what have you, but they had these issues and their name would go in a ledger if they did not go and seek treatment, right? So now, this law, again, it's just an introduction. However, what's going to happen is this shit is going to get passed into law and you motherfuckers are going to be crying. You're not going to do anything about it. Now you heard it here first on No Grandma Killers, Phoenix Moon. Here now you are able to make a distinction and have a way to speak for yourself. You want these strangers that you voted, now you know how to look them all up and see who these people are and see how they affect you. You are not mad at Phoenix Moon. You are not mad at the white man. You should be mad at yourself. And you should be mad at the fact that you don't know this, and this is what it takes to run this fucking country. This is what it takes. It takes knowledge. It takes understanding of what it is that works. You say that it's against you. Well, how can you make it for you? If it's totally broken, what do you have better to substitute? You don't have anything to substitute. So if the oppressor got up and they all took their asses back to their respective nations and shit like that, we wouldn't have anything like this going on. They'd be late keeping the meeting minutes. So, beloveds, I'm going to tell you guys, this is something that you want to take, you want to stay on top of. This affects everybody, everywhere, especially all of you conspiracy theorists. This is something that you may want to tune into because they'll never explain these things to you as they explain all of the gossiping secondhand information from those same oppressors that they want to rid you of and tell you that you need to rid yourself of. However, they still rely on them for just basic things to be told what to do. When in fact, you, the Indian, are able to tell people what to do because this all boils down to what? Commerce, and Indians do what? Regulate commerce with who? So where have they done that? The Native American doesn't do it. It's not their job, but it is the job of who? The American Indian. So now I definitely want to make sure that everybody is really clear on where to look for this. You might want to follow up. It's a good idea to stay on top of it so you don't be crying about the shit later, watching all these fucking people on Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere that they will, get people to listen, crying and whining about some shit that they can do something about, but it'll be too late soon. And even for the things that they think is too late, there's been no action to have these things repealed. So, there's that. There's that. For the most part, people should kind of be ashamed of themselves for not being in control of what it is that they want control of. And you think it's their job. You think it's a stranger's job to know what it is that you want. You think it's a stranger's job to protect your rights when they're so busy speaking and fighting and getting their people's rights across. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it well. Don't want to hold you too long. I definitely wanted to drop that spicy meatball. We'll be back a little later. Got some other things to drop, but I wanted to make sure that you guys were clear with that. House Resolution 6666. Check it out. Get informed. Do something about it. Don't cry about the shit later. That's all I'm saying. It's your peace, Lodge K.